We've been weakened to such a degree.
Through the winding roads of life, sometimes we find ourselves at a critical impasse. Such was the case of a middle-aged man who was trying desperately to patch things up with his estranged daughter, and along the way, found cruel fate waiting for him. This is the unsolved murder of Donald Smith.
Donald Smith was a hard-working man who certainly had his fair share of bumps in the road. Growing up, he bounced from a few different jobs and occupations, but along the way battled many demons, including alcoholism. One of the major upsets in Donald's life was the estrangement from his daughter, Brenda. She was a product of his first marriage, and her mother saw to it that Donald had limited visitation rights, resulting in him having little to do in his daughter's life. Eventually, father and daughter lost all contact for many years. It wasn't until Brenda was an adult that she made a concerted effort to search for her father. Finally, in her mid-20s, Brenda and Donald were reunited, but the painful struggles of their past would not be so easy to overcome. Donald's alcoholism was a formidable hurdle in the two mending their relationship. Although he had been reunited with Brenda, Donald continued to struggle in his daily life. During the mid-80s, he was on his second marriage and was feeling incredibly despondent due to his inability to hold down a job because of various medical issues he was facing at the time. According to his wife, Donald made a spur-of-the-moment decision to make a cross-country trek to visit a few of his relatives and hopefully get past his mounting depression. He packed various items into a trailer and was planning to be gone for a few months. The strange odyssey of Donald Smith would begin 24 hours after he had embarked on his trip. According to official reports, an unknown man showed up to the clinic where Brenda worked and asked to speak to her immediately. The man was informed that Brenda had the day off, but he insisted that it was urgent. Brenda's supervisor agreed to talk to the man out in the parking lot. The manager commented that he spoke with both the strange man and Donald. The unknown individual was now driving Donald's truck with Donald himself, slouched in the passenger's seat, obviously heavily intoxicated. Donald insisted that he needed to speak to Brenda, but was again informed that she had the day off. Because of Donald's urgency, the manager decided to tell him what Brenda had planned for the day and explain to both Donald and the mysterious man of where they could probably locate her. A short time later, Donald and the man caught up with Brenda inside a local bar some 15 minutes from the clinic in which she worked. For some reason, the unknown man walked in ahead of Donald and went to the back bathroom. About a minute later, Donald burst in, looking disheveled and out of sorts. He stumbled over to Brenda and started to mumble incoherently. Taking stock of the situation, Brenda tried to calm her father down, but this did little to settle things. Donald began crying and suddenly became belligerent, openly challenging the bar patrons to a fist fight. At this time, Donald's unknown companion walked past, ignoring the commotion, and got back into the truck. Feeling embarrassed and frustrated, Brenda angrily told her father to take the day and sober up and not call her until he did. At that point, she picked up and left the bar. Sadly, this was the last time Brenda Walker would ever see her father alive. Donald Smith went missing for the next 2 weeks until his lifeless body was discovered in a vacant field outside of the city of Twin Falls, Idaho. First responders commented that the body had been laying out in the field for some time before being discovered. He had been killed from blunt force trauma to the head and most likely had been thrown from a moving vehicle. Only a few days after the body of Donald Smith had been found, and in the late evening hours, Donald's truck was reported to have gotten into an automobile accident just outside of Denver, Colorado. Whoever the driver of the truck was began to run from the scene of the collision and disappeared into the night. When authorities arrived, they searched the truck and found a bloody jackhandle alongside a motel room key. When they found the motel room, the man that it was assigned to went by the name of Larry Monroe. When questioned, motel employees described this individual as matching the description of the mysterious man Donald Smith had been seen with. Inside the motel room, detectives found a bloody shirt and pants. Police began to piece together a timeline of events they believe led to Donald Smith's untimely murder. According to transcripts, police say that shortly after embarking on his cross-country journey, Donald ran into trouble with the trailer he had been towing and somewhere along the line arranged for the trailer to be left with a friend. From that point, Donald continued on with his truck. Sometime after abandoning the trailer, police theorized that Donald picked up an unknown traveler, possibly a hitchhiker that turned out to be the mysterious man he had been seen with in the events leading up to his death. Shortly after he picked up whoever this man was, Donald began drinking, and it's at this point authorities believe he was taken hostage after a fashion, the mysterious companion commandeering Donald's truck. The day after his encounter with Brenda at the bar, Donald made an urgent call to his sister, asking her to wire him money. That same day, he received a sum of $200 outside of Park City, Utah. Witnesses say that Donald was accompanied by the same unknown man. It is now widely accepted that the mysterious hitchhiker intended to rob Donald, then murdered him alongside the road where his body was found. This is a composite sketch made of the individual seen with Donald Smith in the days before his death. He is described as a black man in his mid to late 30s, weighing between 170 and 190 pounds. This man has never been identified, and the murder of Donald Smith has gone unsolved for almost 40 years.